I'm like, well, I guess that means that they're probably going to end up doing figure until judges tell them they're too big and need to go to physique.
Yeah, I know a lady who I did an interview with, welcome Professor Jada Beverly.
Mhm.
She was in physique. She earned a pro card also with USA's, and she was told to go up to bodybuilding, and she didn't do too well because I think with her aesthetics, she's very tall, lean. I mean,
Yes.
she's not going to be putting in much size. Lisa Kodry, who just switched back over to physique, I think this is how it is. I think with figure and it's more for the taller women. You have
Mhm.
those, really tall, kind of taller women. With I think physique and wellness, I think it's more for the shorter women because I know a lady who a couple ladies that I interviews with. One was physique peddler, she switched over to wellness. One is a figure peddler, she's planning to switch over to wellness. It's about those criteria. And I know from he tells me that one thing about the wellness division is that it's mostly for the women who have those Afro aesthetics, the bigger hips, thicker thighs.
Yep.
It's a lot harder for us people that don't have those. Like I said, your father's half of Spanish, and you have some of the DNA, so you probably can do well as you want, but you're more a figure girl. You want to stick with that.
Mhm. I love my back too much. That's the thing. Like I really like those wellness looks. And I'm sure that if I took like a solid 2 years and hammered my legs, like sure, maybe, but I just honestly, if I could pick, I would just want to stay in figure or move up into physique, to be honest.
I think one thing is like there's possibly a talk that they might dissolve the figure division and make it the new physique division and tell all the physique girls to move up to bodybuilding because the fact is, like I said again, the lines are getting blurred. If you look at people like I know a friend of mine, she's a NPC judge. She used to be a competitor. She was attending like a seminar. She ran into Natalia Cuejo, and
Yeah.
Natalia got huge. I mean, and remember she was a figure girl originally herself, you
Yep.
know, and then she comes in like she wins the Olympia. I remember this happened with Sarah Vigor. She came in, always shredded condition, but she came in a little soft. And this happened too. I know you never remember this. I remember this because back in 2005, she's when she was still a young buck, little young girl. That when Iris was going for her defending her title, she lost to Alexander Akeem. They told the women to come in like I think it was 20% less, but Iris did that. But then Yaxina came in huge and shredded, and she lost. And then when they pushed out women's bodybuilding back in after 2014 Olympia, they could have did this if they wanted to keep women's bodybuilding in Olympia. They could have gave the like I said. This is why I would say the judges have a lot of control. They could have gave the title to Alina Popa because Alina has. I met a woman face to face. She's a very beautiful woman. Great,
Mhm.
just amazing physique, amazing body. I think if she had won that year, it would have kept women's bodybuilding because they had to win they want. And Sid Gillen, like I said, she's very attractive, very great look. I mean, she doesn't come too muscular. She tries to hold back a little bit so she wouldn't be coming too shredded. But the thing is, it's trying to keep your ladies in like a box, telling you, okay, you can't evolve and go up. That's the
Yeah.
thing is, in any sport, it's about evolution. When bodybuilders started like Schwarzenegger and them, they had a look. Then you went to the era of Lee Haney and them, and then you went to the areas of Ronnie Coleman. Now you have guys like Heidi Chopin and Big Ramy and Brandon Ray and those guys. It's always evolving. You go from Richard Lesh to Corey Everson to Linda Murray to Kim Zavetsky. That's one reason why they started putting together because Kim Zavetsky was getting huge.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a big girl for sure. I mean, it was beautiful, but I think they got a little worried about it.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I know it's like one thing as I talk to ladies about this, they saying that they are focused, they want to be considered as any athlete. And just like yourself, you are an athlete and you train, you work out, you want to come in your best condition. You don't want to go and do a show and you say, like, you know what, I was better conditioned than that girl. How come she won? I mean, just because she what is it? I mean, what? I mean, what is it? What is it? I mean, just what is it? I mean, we got a man here, Hitman saying Allison Anderson is one of my favorites, but unfortunately, it has happened to her a couple of times. There was no one show up at the show for bodybuilding. Yeah, because I had a lady who I interviewed. Her name is Jarissa Upton. She competed also at the amateur show,
Mhm.
and there was only four of them. It was Jarissa Upton, I think it was Cerise Hayes, Nina Beans, and also Allison. and because there wasn't enough competitors, they just get a pro card. I mean, it's just, and I know it's difficult when and I think one is always gonna say like, oh, we want to maintain our femininity, we don't go to bodybuilding. But here's like this: if you go to a bodybuilding show and as an amateur, and you look over there, there's like 30, 40 girls in physique, and there's only like maybe 6 or 7 women over in bodybuilding. You say to yourself, you know what? I might have a better chance to go over here see how I do. Just to take a chance. I think this is one thing I think all competitors do: learn every pose, not just the women's physique, but also women's bodybuilding, just in case. Where I did interview a lady who competed at Puerto Rico about a couple years ago. She was doing physique. She jumped over to women's bodybuilding. Two others did it too because you never want to miss an opportunity, even to get the pro card, get your Olympic qualification.
Mhm. Yeah, and a lot of amateur shows will do that too. I know around here in Pittsburgh, Gary Udit puts on a lot of the local shows here, and if you do physique, he will allow a free entry for the female bodybuilding division also. So the amateurs can do both.
Yeah, yeah, he's the king of the master shows too because he has the master world. A couple of ladies did interviews and confronting which they competed that show,
Mhm.
and and it's just I'm like this. It's getting frustrating as a fan seeing the
Mhm.
difficulties y'all ladies go through. Where you want to be respected and recognized. I know the truth is that I know it's about money. It's always about the money. It's about the dollar bill, y'all.
Mhm.
But I think it should be one thing. Is I talk about my channel. It's like I won't say equal pay, but at least something. Because you do a show as a pro. I know as an amateur you have to pay out of your pocket. I know one lady told me when she was competing a few years ago, she had to pay almost like $600, 700 for her last, no, $6,000 to $7,000 for her last prep.
Mhm.
And you said again, that's expensive, and that could go to maybe paying your rent, car bill. Hey, have a good time, go to Vegas, you know. But it's just that you have a passion for a sport and a
Mhm.
drive for it. But I believe like this. I think there should be better, prize money because if you do a show, you get $3,000. Turn around, the male bodybuilder might get 30 or $40,000, or your men's physique might get 10. With bikini and wellness, those divisions, those are more aesthetically pleasing to some promoters. They
Mhm.
will may not get a lot of money on the prize money, but they'll make money from sponsorship.
Yep. Yep.
And you have a sponsor, or you just it's all on you?
So I do have a supplement sponsor, and he's local. So I do love supporting my local businesses. So he's a veteran-owned business, and it's called Phase Up Nutrition. So yeah, and he actually sponsors the Amazon magazine.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah, Vinny's really cool about supporting the bodybuilders here, and yeah, he's a great guy. And like I said, veteran, family-owned business, and I'm super supportive of that.
yeah, because I know the guy who runs it, Glenn Senior.
Glenn, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
Glenn. I met him this coming next week, May 1st. I went to the release party
Okay.
for the magazine because a lady who I'm friends with, Marianne Orkowski.
Mhm.
She's from Pittsburgh. I know she's from Philadelphia. I think it's from Pittsburgh. I mean, me might have met her or something like that. Great lady. I got to meet her. Another lady by the name of Smoke. She's an amateur. It was the first time for me. I'm this right side. I'm a must support Smoke. I'm at the gate. It was the first time for me to see women like this in
Mhm.
person. I've seen them in magazines. I've seen them in TV. I've seen them on the internet. But to meet these women in person, the first time was just and knowing there's some many, especially in my home. I live in North Carolina, and there's some ladies who have done interviews in my home state that are here, and and just knowing that there's a community here. I mean, I think the more popular places for it, like is Florida. There's a lot of bodybuilders in Florida.
Yeah.
California, where pretty much where it really grew, and Texas is a growing mecca. I mean,
Mhm.
I did an interview with a lady by the name of Tony Mercury, who lives in Texas. A lady who just competed, who was I consider a friend of mine, Sheba Shaka. A lady who also a friend of mine. I know I'm name dropping, but
Okay.
but Brooke, Brittany Brooks. I mean, it's just even though it's kind of a small community, it's really kind of close. But also, you're gonna have your beefs, you have your issues. I mean, it's like any family.
Yeah.
Sometimes you fight amongst each other, but no one outside can fight against you.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand for sure. Yeah, Pittsburgh, we have bodybuilders here, like you were talking about Emily Schubert, she's here. And then we Teresa Ivanchik, she's close. She's about an hour from me. So we have some pros in the area. Justine Albert is a physique pro, and she's here. And um, but yeah, I'm the only figure pro that's competing this year, but we have like a couple other figure pros, but I don't know when they're competing.
Yeah, it's about like I said, they probably wanted to work on a few things and make some development, and make some improvements. But here's the one thing about this boy is, as I said again, I'm Mr. Perfect Smoke, and it's a fetish for us guys. Like I remember years ago, I used to be on this. I used to come on this chat room, and these guys talk about stuff like that and stuff like that. I mean, one guy he was like talking about like he used to go to shows like that. He say like he said, "That's an old school Smith. When your ladies rock hard, we'll rock hard." And and it's just. I remember one lady told me how to say, "You're not smokes, you're friends."
Yeah.
And it's funny how people make comments about us saying like, "Oh, are you gay or something?" I said, wait a minute, this is a beautiful woman right in front of me. How can I be gay? It'd be one thing if I had a man crush on Vin Diesel. I mean, Fast and the Furious, and first like it's gonna be a yard or a mile, win's a win, and the Fast 10's coming out, got Aquaman in it.
Yeah.
But it's just that we just find young women just interesting, And I know some women, for them, since even on the fetish end, the guys still make more money than just it's not fair because I know my friend Sean, he tells me sometimes he has gay dudes want to have foot pictures and stuff like that, but I say, no, yeah. I said, dude, go ahead and do it. You might make some money. I know it's expensive for you to compete, but even that ends. Some women would have to do to make a living. You have a job, you have a career, I understand that, but
Mhm.
some women do stuff like I know
Mhm.
OnlyFans,
Yeah.
HBCs, and also a lot of them would do like after shows. I just did an interview where I'm gonna name drop again with Sean Nelson, really
Yeah.
cool dude,
Sounds
really
cool.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's really cool dude. Tell me some stuff, give me some jewels, and I know a lot of ladies after show they love to do the photo sets because instead again when our ladies rock hard, we're rock hard. That's the best time to get you. I think one thing what needs to be done is when you get your pro card and you have to pay, I think was it $200 a year to that card. It should be some benefits to it,
Mhm.
like most definitely like um healthcare, life insurance, help. Like if you want to get some blood work, you don't have to pay out of your pocket. I
Oh yeah.
mean, but just those things that to help maybe alleviate some of the financial pressures of competing.
Yeah, that's especially the blood work. That stuff would be like golden because I think that we should be doing it at least more than once a year, but getting it once a year is pretty expensive. And the fact to be like, oh, I should, do it more, and it's the responsible thing to do. And if we're healthy, then we can compete longer. So you would think that the organization would want to keep most of their athletes, especially the pros, healthy so they can keep competing.
Yeah, but the thing about bodybuilding, it's not as profitable compared to that. They make a good ticket change, but compared to like mainstream sports like football, basketball, baseball, and also those sports have unions. Like you remember a few years ago when that Dollar Sterling mess and the players unions came together and they kicked them out. When the situation with the lockout, both in basketball and baseball, I think this thing is, but I think some people are more worried about their long term, their short term money, their long term money. I would think that you want to come together and say, you know what, we have a problem. And his thing is, we as the fans, we come to see you. We don't
Yeah.
come to see the Manions. We don't come to see Jake Wood. We don't come to see any others. We come to see y'all. And I think if anything, they would want to invest in something for their athletes.
Mhm.
Especially even if the PC level, you should have a little something because hey, you it's an amateur, you got to pay out of your pocket more than anybody because you got to pay the interest fee. And if you even that sometimes you may not get that money back. But I think sometimes Gary Udit would do if you do as amateur, he'll give you money back. You compete every now and then, and it's just like I said again, it's a lot of money that you got to put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do know that some of those shows, like they are trying to give, at least a paid ticket to a national show if you win, the overall and things. So like, that's great if they can give those nice prizes to the amateurs for getting overalls at shows. But yeah, again, I wish maybe all the shows did that or something.
Yeah, we got here Tony 97. He says, uh, "Would you like to go up in weight class in the future?" Well, she mentioned she's consider it.
Mhm.
If you look now, it said again, the figure girls are getting bigger. If you look at Jessica Padilla Reyes, you look at Lola Montez, you look at I think who else I'm thinking about uh, just I don't know all the figure girls. I don't follow figure that
Oh,
much.
like Zenobia, she's beautiful.
Nicole, yeah, and also I think Autumn Swanson. Autumn
Yeah,
Swanson. She used
Yep.
to be physique, but
Yep.
she went back to figure.
Hmm.
It's just like I said again. It's about the process, and
Hmm.
I remember there was a picture I saw. It was a picture of Jessica and Natalia, and you looked at them. You seen that picture? Yeah,
I know which one you're talking about, and it's funny because they have the same coach. So I'm just like, what are their coach doing? It's one without heels and one with heels.
yeah. You would think like it'd be like this. I think it'd be like okay, Jessica is the middleweight and Natalia is the lightweight, and that's
Yeah.
how it looks. I mean,
Yeah.
I also saw a picture. She took a picture with a physique competitor. Her name is Anna Harris,
Yeah.
and if you look at her, she was bigger than Anna.
Yeah.
You would think it like say I did like people like look at Missy Trescott.
Yeah. Missy is like, wow.
What like I remember when they had last year when they had figure
Hmm.
at the Arnold, and
Hmm.
looking at backstage videos, and and I'm looking, like like JM, the NBC News, they always had the backstage videos.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, am I looking at figure? I mean, I'm looking at physique because even though it's fitness and figure, and I'm looking at people like Missy, Jessica,
Hmm.
Erica Deer, and An John.
Oh
I'm saying,
yeah, she's good too.
yeah, you wouldn't think it wasn't for the high heels. You were thinking I was looking at physique.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Even now, like when I'm looking at other girls on Instagram, like, and I see them doing, like check-in pictures, I'm like, is that girl wearing heels? Is she figure? Oh my God, like she's so big. Like, and I'm thinking like some of these girls I might end up on stage with, right? So I'm just like, what am I gonna look like next to that? Because you don't really know until you're next to them, right? Like we all look good on our own, or maybe we know angles and can look bigger on Instagram, but I think a lot of girls you really have to put them next to each other in person to actually see, like, is she really big or was that just like a
Lighting.
facade? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know one thing. People tell me some ladies I know I talk about to say like, well, George, there's a big difference when you're actually there than you see it on TV or you see it online or you see it in the pictures. Yeah, I know that, but the fact is, when you start looking like you should be, one time I did a picture where I did like a picture of Missy,
Mhm.
and I think I had it somewhere. I think I got it somewhere in my computer, stuff like that. I might send it to you later. You might check it out. I did a picture of Missy and and Sarah put it together,
Mhm.
and you looked at it and say, what, it just, you couldn't barely tell. I mean, it looked like, I mean, I think, Sarah wants, I don't know, I know if Missy wants, she probably could get on stage and, maybe compete for Mr. Olympia physique. It's just, but I think she feels comfortable where she at. I think one people say that fact is like, she does a lot of flips. She just does a lot of artistic stuff. That's why I think that the 2020 Olympia, that's when Whitney Jones won because Whitney has that more aesthetic look. She wasn't as
Mhm.
buff, but I think Whitney had to take a step back because she's dealing because she's over 40 and I could tell you I remember I watched a video with her. She's ice to the knees. I can understand that with knees. A man, Tony 97 just said this. Sometimes you can't tell if someone is legitimately big or it's just a post workout pump. Yeah, it's just that when you're especially if you ate something that day and you're just like it's like, and
Yeah.
you're just coming in, you just look at the camera and say, wow,
Yeah.
but sometimes pictures can be photoshopped a little bit.
They really are. I mean, you can't beat a good pump though, but yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah. Also, you say, like I say, but here's the thing about this:
Mhm.
as a competitor, in your opinion, what you would like to see change in sport? What you want to see that you think that needs to be done?
Um, I think it's great that they are doing like posing seminars and things like that. And I know that like the organization was doing that women's workshop at the beginning of the year. I would like to see like more meetups or something of that sort. Like I think one of the best parts about doing shows is just meeting people backstage and like the friendships that you make with the other girls or other competitors. I just would love more of like more meetups, like if like at the Arnold, like sometimes people will have like events at like supplement shops and things like that to like do meet and greets. And I like that kind of stuff, especially now as a pro. Like I actually hope that someday I'm like honored with the idea of, having like a meet and greet booth or something. So I just would like to do more of that. And again, the posing workshops are great. I would like to do more posing workshops or I like to go to them, maybe be a part of one someday. So I think we just need to keep the face to face stuff going on too.
I know a friend of mine told me, he said, George, you need to go to a posing, like a posing seminar. I said, can I go? I'm not a competitor. He said, no, you can just buy a ticket and go. I said, well, like I said, I live on a budget, so sometimes I just can't travel too much. I just got my car fixed early this year, and that, oh,
Anything with the car. Ooh.
oh, a car is like, I mean, by the time you fix one thing, I got one thing fixed. Where I had to place my shocks and my struts on both in the front and the back because it was a car my sister gave me,
Yep.
and it was one strut. So you know what? There's no point in just replacing that one. I might as well pick both. Now I gotta fix another thing. I gotta replace this thing. And just, I mean, I wish it could be like Superman, just fly wherever I need to go.
Teleport, please.
Teleport. Do like a go to, just like
Yeah.
get there. Or like beat me up, Scotty, Captain Picard, engage number one.
Yes.
So it's just like I said again, it's a pleasure talking with you because I know you just got off of work. Tony got another question. If you want to ask this question, he says, "What's your height and your weight?" So, what's your dimensions right now?
Yeah. So I'm 2 weeks out, like I said, and I'm 5'3" in height. And right now I am 131 pounds.
God, I hadn't been 131 pounds since elementary school. I think about.
Yeah. Well, my off season started at 158. So if that tells you my heaviest to what it is now. So I've lost about 30 or so pounds. And I'm, between now and peak week, my coach is like, we're probably going to lose another 10 pounds. So we're probably looking at 122 pounds once we're on stage.
Mm-hmm. And I say you are planning to do Pittsburgh.
Yep, Pittsburgh and Toronto.
And like I said, I might talk about. I know, like I said, most of the time my content I talk more about bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk too much about shows that don't have women's bodybuilding. I might every now and then because, as you know, I'm expanding my content a little bit. I did an interview a while back with a couple ladies with bikini competitors. One was amateurs, one's a pro. I'm been reaching out to girls in wellness, but they kind of like have the mindset of like of those other bikini competitors,
Yeah.
But like I said, I think you're the third figure competitor I've talked to, and really, like I said, I'm trying to expand my thing. Like I said again, I'm a person smoke, and and like I said, I think all your ladies are beautiful, and to quote the other guy, you are beautiful. And it's just like I said, he comes out. I can't help it.
It's your character. It's okay.
Yeah, I have multiple characters. Right now you're talking to. I'm George MacArthur. Then there's always George Paige. Then there's him, the other guy, the Joker. There's also another guy, the Perfect Sage.
Oh, Perfect Sage. I know that
one.
Yeah.
Jariah. I hate that they killed him. I said, why? Why you kill Jariah? I mean, that was like Naruto's. I would say Jariah was more like Naruto's. I would say kind of a grandfather image than a father figure. His father's Minato, the fourth Hokage.
Yep.
And I think he was kind of like I mean, it just to lose. I remember he was just so brokenhearted. I mean, but it's just, he's my favorite. I also have another guy called the Hater. It's based on a character from Chappelle's show, Silky Johnson. I come sometimes when I have a situation when I get pissed off, I bring him out. He's the Hater. And there's also one that a friend of mine stole me. He called me the Lord of the Wall. I'm Jon Snow, the Lord of the Wall, the Bastard of Winterfell. I have mental characters.